Well, good morning, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and what a pretty morning it is. It is 16 degrees Celsius here in southern British Columbia, which would make it 60 Fahrenheit. It looks like it's going to be a hot one. Yay! Hope you all had a really fun 24 hours. I must admit that I left work yesterday and went straight in the opposite direction to home and joined my friend Patty for dinner. We don't get to do that very often, but we had an awesome time. You know, it's funny because she was reminding me that we've known each other for 27 years, and it seems like yesterday. I can still see how we met. And in a way, I don't know if any of you relate to this, in a way very little has changed in 27 years. I always remember when I first met her, one of the things that intrigued me about her was her serenity. She was able to just be, she's a very good listener, and she is very calm. And I'm not so calm. And it's not that I'm volatile, but it's that I get very passionate about things. Put it mildly. And I am really aware that I have changed quite a bit, because the one thing I couldn't do before is let go, and today I can let go and just go, well, you know. But for the longest time I had to be right. I don't know if any of you relate to that. If you don't agree with me, you're wrong. And I have to be right. And it was interesting to me because I can really see that shift where I can now agree to disagree. And you know, that's a great freedom when you can agree to disagree. So it allows you to listen to somebody else and listen to them have totally different views. And just smile. Okay. And I think, I'm trying to remember where I first saw that, but you know, a great line is, you could be right. Not that you are, but you could be. You know, you don't say that bit. You just go, you could be right. You know, it shuts down the argument quite well. You could be right. Now, inside, you can be thinking, I actually don't think so, but you could be. And then moving right along, change the subject. If there's one thing that I've learned over the years, there are very few people whose thinking you're going to change. When I say very few people whose thinking you're going to change, it's about if somebody is set on an idea and your experience in life gives you a totally different aspect of it, then the chances are you're probably not going to be able to convince them. And that's okay. One of the things that I love about doing the broadcasts every week is that we have some pretty strict rules. And when I say pretty strict rules, one of the things we make sure people understand, you know, people can come in and they'll be quite rude to us. Why? Because, you know, every other channel, they allow that. And so what we do is we just give them a warning and say, look, this is going to be your one warning, to either act respectfully. You can have different views, but, you know, say so respectfully, or else, you know, you get nuked. We will boot you out of the broadcast. And so some people actually go, oh, okay, And they actually respect us for it. And others, just continue to be idiots and disrespectful, and we ban them. It's quite simple. And they come back under different names, and sometimes they settle down, and because the subject was interesting to them, so they come back under a different name, and then they shut up. Or they have some healthy dialogue, which is, great. So one of the things that we have time and time again when we're doing the broadcasts are people with totally different views on stuff. And as long as you can put forward your view in a polite way, we're open to hearing everybody's views. We don't have to agree, but we're open to hearing them. And I think that's a really important part about life. In fact, there have been some people who've come into the broadcast to cause trouble. And then we actually give them some space to actually expound on what they're talking about, and they get quite shocked because they're so used to being totally cut off. And I go, no, I just don't agree with what you're saying, but maybe I don't understand what you're saying well enough. So why don't you give it to me in different words? And they will. And sometimes you go, something? You got a point. Now, you got a point doesn't mean you're right. You got a point means you made your point. And it's amazing how it calms people down. And there are other people, this is something that I find really interesting as well, and I don't know how this relates to your life, but I'm pretty sure it must, otherwise it wouldn't be in my head. But it's amazing how many people will come into the DearMamaSal broadcasts, and one of the rules that we have is we won't put people we don't know up on camera. We need to get to know you first. Now, it's not we even make anybody go up on camera, but there are a lot of people that want to come in and get up on camera, and we go, sorry, no. And then they start insulting me. Well, I don't know if you understand this, but the last time I checked, buddy, this was my channel. And as long as it's my channel, I get to make the rules. And if you don't like them, that's fine. Totally understand. I don't know you're from a hill of beans and you want to be making the rules for my channel? I don't think so. And sometimes I even have to stop the the viewers, the regular viewers, who are moderators, and have the ability to boot people out. I have to remind them, hang on a second, before you boot this one, let's hear him out. Because there are people with their finger over the button waiting to boot them. Because they don't like the way they're treating me or something. And I go, whoa, let's just hear him out first. It's quite cute. And so, this is all about some days we're more patient than others as well. I have to say that because, if we've got somebody that we're trying to help and some idiot comes in wasting time when we're trying to help somebody who's in quite a lot of emotional pain, I must admit we're not quite as patient as we should be. We're not perfect. Because we want to get back to helping the person that came in for some help. And most people, we find, just really need to talk about what it is that they're struggling with. And most people, we've discovered, after they've talked about it, just need some options. They don't need the right answer. Most people, when they get overwhelmed, feel stuck because they don't know where to go next. They have run out of options, if you like. And so part of our job is to give them 2 or 3 options of what they might be able to do and let them choose the option. That's called empowering. We're not going to tell them which is the right answer because we don't know what's the right answer for their life. What we do know is, here are some ideas. Pick the one you like. In other words, do anything, just don't stay stuck. And it's amazing how quickly people get empowered with that. You see, we don't have to be right. We just need to be helpful. When you speak to most people, they actually don't want somebody telling them what to do. They want somebody to listen and give them some pointers. Because if they knew how to fix this, they would have done it already. Now, I did a very bad thing today. I've got to admit to a terrible thing. I was putting my makeup on, and a daddy long legs appeared, and it must have been about this big. I don't mind telling you, it woke me up very quickly. And I'm afraid I sent it for swimming lessons. I feel very bad about that. Well, the reason was I gave it a chance yesterday. I saw it yesterday as well, to be honest. I saw it yesterday. And I gave it an option to go away and live somewhere else, and it didn't. It came back and was on my vanity this morning. Suddenly appeared. And I'm going, afraid you don't get a third chance here. I'm very sorry about that. Oh, there's a police car next to me. Disguised as a regular car. So exciting. Why do I know that? Well, on the back it's got a Snoopy, which makes it look like a regular car. It's a little 4-wheel drive, but on the side, where I just happened to see, there is a little emblem. For the local police. You never know, do you, who's in the car next to you? Till it's too late. Okay, so I've got to tell you a funny moment about the meal last night. Now, I'm certain that you've all got your own version of this, but I was so sorry we did not have a camera rolling at the moment that it happened. We were at a cactus club, and I like to eat at the cactus club because they take my allergy to garlic seriously, and I always thank them for that. And we started off with the greatest hors d'oeuvre, and it was a mixture of salmon and prawns in lime juice and some other thing, with a little bit of dill in it, just sprinkled over the top, and they served it with humongous tortilla chips. Oh, it was so tasty. I can't wait to try it myself. Normally I would never want to cook that, but I've got news for you. It was, I would say, prepare rather than cook, because you're not going to need a whole lot of cooking with it. But it really was tasty. Incredibly tasty. So anyway, then we went on, and because both Patty and I are slightly older, we decided we wanted to share a steak. Excuse me. Oh. Once a wish, twice a kiss. So anyway, we decided we wanted to share a steak. Now, only we can share a steak and then have it cooked 2 different ways. But we did, and they did a great job, which is again why I like to go there, because they really do serve some great food. And then we had mashed potato and asparagus with it, so it was really tasty. Really nice demi-glazed sauce on it as well. Anyway, so very tasty. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And then to finish, we had we shared a slice of key lime pie. Now, we talk a lot when we have dinner together. And so we were busy. And you know when you get down to the last bit of something that you share, you know, it stays on the plate a long time because nobody really wants to take the last bit. And on the other hand, and it's funny, you get to the last bit and you stop eating because there needs to be a discussion about whose bit it is or how you're going to divide it or whatever. So, you know, we were sitting there chatting away with this little bit left on the plate. And the funniest thing was, oh, I am so sorry the camera wasn't rolling. But the funniest thing was, that the server came and said very politely, "Can I take that away for you?" Well, I want to tell you the reaction without even looking at each other. The reaction that both Patty and I had was, absolutely not. And it was like we'd rehearsed it for 10 minutes. And the server was telling us later how often that happens, where, you know, he'll watch somebody with a plate, and they got a little bit of salad left, or they got a little bit of whatever left. And he says, you know, they'll watch it for 10 minutes and nobody touches it. So what do they presume? You've finished. And so they go, "Can I take that?" No. So I would like to suggest that in the interests of awareness, the next time you do it and you're at a restaurant, do the honorable thing, discuss it with whoever you're eating with, and gobble it up so the servers are not confused. Oh, I wish it had been recorded, really, because it was just like, absolutely not. Oh. It was funny though. Nice memory. And it was a memory. You know, I say that life is about memories, not things. When we remember that meal, that's what we will remember. And not the 4 or 5 hours of chatting. It's like, absolutely not. No. By the way, for any of you who listen to my sensor go off, I've got a sensor that is not working well. It's like me, it's suffering from old age. And I've done the research to find out how much it will cost to replace the sensor into that tank. And quite honestly, it's not worth it. Hang on a sec. There we go. It's not worth it. So what I should do is just get them to disconnect it, because every now and then you'll hear it go, and I'm certain some of you who are very concerned people are probably wondering, what is that warning sign that keeps going off in Sal's car? And it's not to say that there's something wrong, it's to say that the sensor isn't working properly, which I know. And almost every broadcast I have to edit out the bit where it goes beep, 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 because I'm going, it'll upset them, you know. And I probably still will edit it out anyway. So, going back to our starting point. Spend the next little while, day, 2 days, maybe week, maybe this year, concentrating on not having to be right. however difficult that is. And let it be. I just watched the most horrifying, insult-laden newscast. You know, in terms of listening to, I'm afraid to say, Mr. Trump. And I'm listening to this and I'm going, the guy had a conniption fit because they asked him to explain where the money had gone that he raised for the veterans. And he was so snippy about that. And, you know, the media's point of view was, we have the right to ask the question. And if you're going to be, I mean, this is basically what they said, if you're going to be president, you better get used to it. And he was so snippy and, you know, whatever, and self-promoting in it. And he was rude enough in places, and particularly of certain journalists, that one of the journalists said, you know, if you become president, is this what a press conference is going to be like at the White House? And I thought that was quite a good question. And he said, of course. But you know, the press made the comment that it is their job to ask questions like that. That's what the press does. If somebody makes claim that they've raised, you know, $6 million, and when you do the research, you can't find very many people that say they've received any money, I think the press has every right to look into it. And ask those questions. So, but you know, the way that the press was treated was just like, wow. And you know, CNN has a political reporter called Jim Acosta, I think, Jim Acosta. Very smart guy, in my view. And very polite. And very gracious. And for the first time ever, I saw him have to hold back his words. You could see how angry he was. You could see how insulted he was. Because one of his colleagues got hit hard. And he was obviously very, very angry because he believed that particular reporter to be a very ethical reporter who never, ever deserved the insults that he got. And you could just tell that Jim was just so upset. I've never seen him rattled before, never mind upset. It was quite something to see. Oh, that's very nice. Thought somebody was going to take my parking space, but guess what? They're reversing into another one. That leaves me mine. All right, everybody. So work hard today, not having to be right. Breathe in. For some of you, work hard in the year, trying not to be right. I'll do the same. In the meantime, look after yourselves a little bit better than you look after everybody else. This is DearMamaSal sending you a big hug, and bye-bye for now.